There's one vocal. I don't want to give too much away. There's one vocal on the big album I did, and it's a very, very famous person, and no one's ever twigged that it was them because I made them sing, and they're not normally singers. My name is Norman Cook. Some people call me Fatboy Slim. I'm from Brighton in England, and I'm a disc jockey. I get elevated by music and people's response to music. I love the way that it connects us, brings us together, and we use it not only to connect but also to escape. My earliest musical memory is singing in the car with my family. There was 5 in my family, and on long journeys to get around the boredom of beating my brother and sister up, we used to sing together, and we would sing in harmony. And there's something very powerful happened. The fight stopped and we all felt like a family for once. And the music became more than the sum of the 5 voices. When we sung in harmony, something profound happened, and that's always affected me, the way that music affects us. We probably would have seen the Beatles or Peter, Paul and Mary. Yeah, Peter, Paul and Mary covering Bob Dylan songs. I once actually was, well, not stuck in an elevator. I was once in an elevator with Bill Murray, and it was terrible because I was so starstruck and so nervous. But because we were just there in an elevator, there was nowhere to hide. So I just said, "You're Bill Murray. You're a genius," and he just looked at me and went, "Yeah, I know." I'd like to be stuck in that elevator with Bill Murray so we could get over that initial awkwardness of the conversation and get into something a bit deeper. The most unique venue that comes to mind is an igloo. There's a festival I do called Snowbombing, which happens up a mountain in Austria, and they build an igloo every year, and they build decks into the igloo, which actually over the week they kind of melt and fuse into the ice. And that's just the freakiest ever, because the acoustics are really weird, because it's a circular ceiling and the ice kind of absorbs the sound. It's like there's no reverberation in there. But it's a very intense party, and we melt the ice on a nightly basis. My favourite movie is The Big Lebowski, and I think the soundtrack of that is probably my favourite soundtrack. But when I was a kid, I really loved Paris, Texas, Ry Cooder, and Midnight Express, Giorgio Moroder. I would love to score a film. I've sort of tried it in small increments, and I'm not really that kind of composer. But if I did, it would probably be the Coen brothers. Coffee all the way. Does anyone listen to albums anymore? Probably Abbey Road by the Beatles. That's the one I always go back to. I have many guilty pleasures, most of which I can't really reveal. I've got a football team immortalised on my shirt, Brighton and Hove Albion, but I'm not actually guilty about that at all. I just get pleasure from it. Probably my guiltiest pleasure is The Carpenters. In fact, that might have been the last album that I listened to, but I was too guilty to tell you. Window seat. I love to gaze out the window watching the world go by. My favourite thing about sampling is taking records that weren't hits and turning them into hits by kind of regurgitating them. So I really like sampling records that were not popular. But probably my favourite ones are the ones where I've sampled something really famous or somebody really famous and they never noticed because it was so mangled. There's one vocal on I don't want to give too much away. There's one vocal on the big album I did, and it's a very, very famous person, and no one's ever twigged that it was them because I made them sing, and they're not normally singers. I prepare the same way for all performances. 3 cans of Red Bull, put on a crap Hawaiian shirt, throw off my shoes, and then my tour manager, Alan, slaps me across the face really hard. I have 2 cats, Moon and Luna, brother and sister. Bengal tabbies, stripy and spotty at once. I have a very, very favourite BPM, 128. You'll be hearing a lot of that. Perfect day in Brighton. I stay at home. I live on the beach, so it's quite easy to stay at home. I travel for a lot of my life, so the perfect day for me really is stay at home. But I own a cafe just down the road. My cafe is called the Big Beach Cafe, so probably going there for a full English breakfast would be the thing I love to eat. And yeah, hang out with my cats and my daughter. If I could go back in time, I would go back to the loft and watch David Mancuso, because it's, for me, that was the genesis of everything that we love about music, and I've heard so many fables about what it was like and how he played, but yeah, I would give one of my fingers probably to do that. Non-musicians who inspire me, the aforementioned Bill Murray, Bill Hicks, I thought was a tremendous human being. There's an English professor called Professor Hannah Fry, who's like a scientist who makes fun science programs. Actually, she would be my current obsession, actually, rewinding to that. Yeah, Professor Hannah Fry. My go-to karaoke song is Hey, Did You Happen to See the Most Beautiful Girl in the World? And I slaughter it whenever I can. Most used app on my phone is Shazam, I think. A serial Shazammer. The latest show I went to was my own last year, which was Here Lies Love on Broadway, which I worked on with David Byrne. That was the last time I went to a show. Go to snack on the roads, cashew nuts. That's an easy one. They're very, very portable. You can get them on the rider, but they're very portable, and if you've got a late show and you can't eat afterwards, then the big bag of cashew nuts will do me right. And then they'll keep forever in your suitcase. And then if I haven't eaten them all on tour, then I've got stock at home. Dan eats everything. There's an English DJ called Eats Everything, and he's a very large character. He would love a space like this, and so eats everything.